you might be able to tell that this is a 20-year-old model. You might even be able to tell, despite all of its detail, that this is a semi-scale model. But what you probably can't tell is that this daylight had the ever-living daylights beaten out of it on its journey here. Let's dive into that. Welcome back to Datafied. We're here again on the second-hand overland with this beautiful K-Line TMCC equipped Southern Pacific Daylight 4449. Arguably the most iconic engine in North America, and maybe even the world. This thing's amazing looking, and it's no surprise that my son has taken quite a bit of a liking to this design. We've got it on a poster in our basement, and he sees it all the time. And even if there's like a video that we're watching online and there's a daylight on the shelf in the background, he goes out of his way to point it out. He loves this thing. And so I've been looking for quite a while to find one. These aren't the easiest to find, and a lot of times they're a bit on the pricey side. So I was looking for one that could, still fit the budget, but still be nice enough to run. And there are other semi-scale options out there. Yes, believe it or not, despite all these details, this is a semi-scale model, which is why I've been seeking this one out. In my opinion, it's the best looking semi-scale version of the Daylight out there. All the other semi-scale versions are either older and just look a little bit more dated, or just the proportions aren't really right on it. So this thing just hits it out of the park, and it fits in perfectly with our other Lion Master engines we have here on the second-hand overland. So it's awesome to have this Southern Pacific edition, and I was really excited to get it, and when it arrived, it was a bit of a disaster. Yeah, it turns out if you don't put other packing material to keep the box from moving around inside the shipping box, that it's just going to open up and be a big old disaster. And since this is a heavy die-cast engine, this thing not only beat the tar out of the shipping container, but it also beat the tar out of itself. There are a lot of bent rods and grab handles and ladders and other neat details that, again, I purchased this engine because of those details, and they were all sorts of messed up. It was pretty heartbreaking to take this thing out of the box and see the abysmal shape it was in just because of somebody's carelessness when they went to go ship it. So I was a little disappointed with that, worked some things out with the seller, got things fixed up here, and got it on the line, and thankfully it was running for about 20 minutes, and then it just stopped. It locked up, and I turned the track power back on, and it shot off like a rocket. I had to turn track power off again quickly, just so that way it wouldn't run itself off the line. And that was not the greatest sign. So I started troubleshooting things and checking the antenna to make sure that it was communicating with our TMCC controller, checking all the pickups, looking for anything loose that might have been jostled during its bumpy ride here. And the more things I was checking through, the more it looked like this thing might have a busted board. And unfortunately, one of the things that I've heard about K-Line stuff, or one of the criticisms now is, well, they don't make them anymore, so you can't get parts for them. And yeah, that is kind of true, but the board in this is a Lionel board, and they are still making, or other companies at least are still making, boards that will work in these. Thanks to the Electric Railroad, I was able to get a R4 LC board to replace the burnt out R2 LC board that was keeping this thing from operating properly. And with the new board in there, it's working great. In fact, I think it's even working better than the original Lionel board that was in there. It seems to respond a lot more quickly, and it seems to have much smoother application to the power and everything. I'm really glad that I had that part on hand. I actually forgot I had that board. I had been keeping it to update another engine to TMCC and just hadn't done it. And thankfully, with some research and the help of a bunch of friends on Instagram, I was able to figure out that board was compatible, put it in there, and it's running great. I did, however, notice a few other wires that were in not such great shape, so I went through and replaced and soldered in new wires in there, just in case any of those exposed wires that were in the tender were causing the shorts that were hurting the original board. I didn't want that to happen again, so I'm glad I went through the trouble to get all that stuff wired back up and get it all right. But the Daylight is running great now. We've got it here on the line. Now I need to track down some passenger cars for it, because in the meantime, I've just got some Southern Pacific box cars, and I know the Daylight's more known for being passenger service, but it's great to have it here. It was a bit of a bumpy ride getting it here, and I wasn't really sure if it was going to even work out just because of all the issues we were having with it, but got all that stuff wrapped up in a short amount of time. Can't thank the help that the folks that helped us out enough for all of their guidance and support and insight to working on this thing and getting this thing up and running. You guys are awesome. The community around these trains continues to blow me away. So thanks so much for watching. Let us know what you'd like to see next on the railroad. If you'd like to see some more engines, if you'd like to see more layout details or things like that, there's always stuff we're tinkering around with here on the Secondhand Overland. So like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.